What's going on, horror fans? Welcome back to another video update here today, and today I want to touch up on a very interesting subject that's been bothering me for quite a while, somewhat of a rant, I guess you could say, pertaining to Resident Evil movies. Now, the reason for that is because, first and foremost, I am a Resident Evil fan. I grew up on the games, I grew up watching the animated shows, I grew up knowing the ins and outs of Resident Evil because when I was a kid, my very first Resident Evil game was Resident Evil 2, and ever since I played that on the N64, I was hooked. I was hooked on the story, I was hooked on the characters, I was hooked on the enemies, on the zombies and stuff. And over the years, when I was a kid, when I found out that the Resident Evil movies were coming out, I was very excited. I was like, oh hell yeah, because I grew up on the games and the games were so good. But gradually over time, just everything began to just fall apart in terms of the Resident Evil franchise. Now, I was actually looking up some stuff on bloodydisgusting.com, on Screen Rants and stuff, and it seems to me that they're actually pushing on forward with the final Resident Evil film, which I am just very angry about because it has nothing to do with the games. It has nothing to do with the games. It has mainly nothing to do with the entirety of the story thus far. It's just one big hot steaming pile of monkey shit that's going to be delivered in theaters, and I am just so pissed off because the possibility, right, of them rebooting this right now is just going to be slim to none because they have another movie coming out. But I would love for them to remake and reboot the entire series because up until right now, virtually nothing makes sense anymore. I mean, if you pay attention to the development of Alice's character and stuff and everything that's been incorporated with Leon and Chris and Jill and all these other characters that have no, significant importance to the movies anymore, like nothing makes sense. I mean, now Alice is teaming up with Albert Wesker when she was like hunting him down, trying to kill him the entire time of like the 5th movie or like whatever it was. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. And as a fan, I would love to see a remake be done by a good director, by a very, very well thought about cast, because having Mila Jovovich star in Resident Evil thus far, it's just been cringeworthy having to watch it on the big screen because, Resident Evil wasn't just about nunchucks and zombies and karate kicking mutants in the face and then, having to do all this Matrix bullshit like they actually depicted onto the films. But it's more or less about survival, like nothing about the current Resident Evil films screams survival. It just screams cash cow, And so I feel as if Hollywood were to remake the franchise, it'll really do them justice. And I believe if they do it right, it'll bring in more profit on their end. Now, I'm just one little Resident Evil fan amongst many others, but Capcom and all these other, corporations have to realize that they're losing their fan base. They're losing their fan base. Why? It's because they're producing bullshit. The movies are bullshit. The movies fucking suck. Nothing about the movies scream, money, profit. Nothing about these current movies scream success. They all scream failure. They all scream cash cow. Like, they're just milking the title of Resident Evil, trying to get as much out of it as possible. And me, for one, like, not many people have touched up on this, with the exception of, like, Alpha Omega Sin and a couple of other YouTubers, but honest to God, it's really pissing me off because I want to see some justice here. I want to see something be done about this because, how long are fans going to just stand by and take it up the ass while these companies are like, you know what, F you, we're not going to do it your way, we're going to do it our way. So, and quite frankly, their way has just completely sucked up until now. Like the entirety of the movies, 1 through fucking whatever it is right now, it's complete garbage. Anybody out there who enjoys the Resident Evil films, I mean, seriously, you have to, like, reconsider your priorities in life because there's, like, what do you find enjoyable about these films? Like with the exception of, like, a few action scenes here and there that are, like, decent to fair, everything else is just completely abominable. It's so bad. Like, from the very first video game that they had, within the mansion and stuff, carrying on over to Raccoon City, and then, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis with, everything that happened with Nemesis and all that kind of stuff, and then Resident Evil 4 with Leon and the village and all that kind of stuff. Everything, like, how awesome would it have been? Excuse me, I'm just stumbling on my words because I'm thinking about this, and I'm just like, how much more can you fuck this up, really? But, like, can you imagine if they actually based the movies individually on the games? Now, you don't necessarily have to do them equally as the games, like, just, word for word dialogue and, like, scene to scene, kind of things going on. But, like they could always mimic and take into consideration how the games did it and just replicate it in their own way onto the big screen, you know? Utilize the fucking characters for once. Like the characters have no fucking importance. If a character dies, I don't really give a shit on who dies. Like that's bad, because I'm not interested into in the character. I don't care about the character. I don't care about if he lives, if he dies, if he catches AIDS, if he gets shot in the face, bit by a zombie. Nobody cares about the characters because they have no development. They have no emotion as to what they bring to the table. They're ultimately forgettable. I mean, every single character that's died within the movies thus far has been forgettable. Like, we don't sit here in 2016 and think about, well, you remember when that guy died, or you remember when this guy got killed? No, nobody gives a shit anymore. Why? Because the movies failed to deliver on that aspect of character development. You know, like the only character that I can think of that was memorable that died was Michelle Rodriguez's character when she was on the train towards the end of Resident Evil 1, you know, like the movie. So that was pretty much it. Everything else was complete and utter dog shit. And anybody out there who enjoys the product of Resident Evil has to reevaluate their lives, because there is nothing enjoyable about the films. Ask any Resident Evil fan, man. They will tell you that the movies, like, you can catch cancer from a mile away just by looking at the title, like, let alone anything else. So, you know, I really hope that they go on ahead and just remake the films, reboot the films, do it from scratch, and do it well, because there are directors out there that do know what the fuck they're doing. There are actors and actresses out there that do know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to being on the big screen and delivering like a solid performance. Now, I'm not trying to say that the actors and actresses in the previous films haven't delivered, but I mean, they just half-assed everything. It was like D+ at best. It wasn't believable. The story development wasn't even there. It like, the original story went from, like, you know, survival horror to like kung fu, like, you know, fucking Texas Walker Ranger style, draw guns, shoot. It was just, it's complete dog shit. It's not believable. I can't sit there and actually believe in someone doing a roundhouse kick to a zombie while trying to do like a hurricanrana on another zombie while fucking swinging like dual pistols, trying to like shoot all these like undead dogs, and while fighting like Nemesis and shit. It just doesn't make any freaking sense. So I'm making my rant about this right now to express myself, because after watching the movies out of spite and out of like anger, because I want to see how bad they are, like, it just gradually gets worse and worse, you know? In the latest Resident Evil film, like, they ran, the zombies were running, but that had no importance either, because they didn't really do much, you know? It was just fucking terrible. They had like those giant pyramid cone heads, whatever, with the giant axes and stuff. Didn't really utilize them well at all. It was just like every single boss, every single enemy that they introduce, they don't even execute, you know, well on their end either. It's just complete dog shit. The CGI is shit. The storytelling, man, let me just tell you, the story behind Resident Evil is the worst ever. I mean, literally from Resident Evil 1 to like 3, like, there's no backstory other than Alice just like exploring the fucking badlands of like Nevada and like exploring this destroyed land. And it's really terrible. And then in Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5, you have her trying to kill Wesker, and then she's teaming up with Wesker, and then Wesker's like, we have to hold our own right here for like our final stand, all that bullshit. And then like they stand there while like the whole world is coming after them. It's just none of that has to do with RE, man. And it's just fucking bad. Like, it's really fucking bad. And if you guys agree with me, then spread this video, because I want this message to get around to as many people as possible, especially to Resident Evil fans, because if you're willing to stand by this bullshit, then you're not really a fan. You're not a fan. I don't give a fuck what you say. If you stand by these horrible ass movies and you accept that shit, then you're not a fucking fan. I don't care if you grew up knowing how big fucking Barry Burton's cock is. You're not a fucking fan if you accept the fucking horrid films that came out over the years. You know, like, spread the word, spread this video, spread the message, spread the awareness that we as the fans are sick and tired of this bullshit, and we want to see something done, you know? A remake, a reboot, whatever. Something else that doesn't have to do with Paul W.S. Anderson's fucking bullshit, because he's casting his wife over and over again as the lead actress. And it's just, it's terrible. It's cringeworthy. And, you know, like, for some, they might say, oh, well, I enjoyed the film because, you know, I grew up on it and stuff. I'm not fucking addressing you at all, because that to me just shows that you're not a Resident Evil fan. I'm addressing the people that were down since day one, since, like, the very beginning, who know their shit, man. And it just pisses me off to know that so many people accept this and aren't willing to make a change. You know, sign petitions, you know, make videos, share this video, you know, get the word out that, hey, listen, we the fans are tired, because if you don't say shit, you're just going to keep getting it in the ass. And guess what? Like, when you get, you know, some shitty ass product and you complain about it, you have nobody else but to blame but yourself. I mean, we have like the new RE game coming out this year, Operation Raccoon, whatever the fuck. It's going to be terrible because they're trying to be like Call of Duty and it's just bad. So like the gaming companies, you know, are to blame too, but like mainly it's just like the movies are bad. Remake them, redo them from scratch, because, so my god, if they come out with another fucking movie, I am just going to lose my brain. So I really hope that doesn't happen, but unfortunately I think it's going to happen. So I don't know, man. Just the movies fucking suck. The movies are just terrible. They need to redo them. Like the storytelling, the character development, nothing makes sense. So comment down below and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys love the movies? In which case, I hope you don't. If you guys hate the movies, let me know why. And express your concerns as to what you guys would do differently. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be catching you guys in the next video. Take it easy, everybody.